3, 2, 1. Welcome to What the Shuck. The goal of the What the Shuck podcast is to provide a platform for those people with a positive and influential idea that has in some way helped me to change my life, or that will maybe help you to change yours. So as we as we navigate through the tribulations that life will throw you and all the biggest goals that you're trying to achieve, it's going to get tough sometimes. So these people are going to help you to get through these times. However, I also plan on putting a spotlight on the people who make Kentucky such a unique and awesome place. So throughout my podcast, I'll be interviewing people of all professions, arts, and honestly just anyone with a cool idea. My next guests are the hosts of the Lexington Business Show podcast, and they specialize in marketing and advertising through their branded 78, which is a social-first digital agency built for now. So I'd like to welcome my guests on right now. Thank you all guys for coming on so much.
Hey man, thanks for having us.
Yeah, that intro, I'm inspired.
I think I'm
already.
done. We're done.
Yeah. I can add nothing to that. So that's good.
Yeah, but thank you all. We're here from 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's been a really big week for me. I've done like 6 episodes so far. So thank you all. I feel like I'm hot as donut grease right now, and I feel like I'm ready to go.
So this is the 7th?
This is the 6th one.
The 6th one.
Yeah.
Wow. Man,
So
it's a busy week.
Yeah, it has. And I actually took off. I'm on vacation right now. And most people will say slow down, and I'm like, no, like this is time for me to grind.
Put the pedal down.
I'm wanting to make this thing big, and you guys are such an influence to the community. You all just recently had an event at the Origin Hotel, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
right. And I think that's so awesome because you all did it for free, and it was a great opportunity for a bunch of people in the Lexington community to come together and network. So if you all don't care, just talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think that's you right there.
Well, it's funny about that whole thing. It's like, I had so many people come up to me on Tuesday night and they said, man, this event's amazing. Like, thank you so much for putting this together. And like, how'd you do this? And like, I mean, how'd you get all these people here? And like, my other business partner, Mike Gilland, and I, we started that event 2 years ago. Like, it's not, everything takes time, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, it's overnight success, but it's like, it took 2 years to get 220 people in the room, right? Yeah. And so like, the whole point of the event is to bring just business people together, people that, maybe they're looking for a job, right? Maybe they're executive corporate, maybe, whatever that looks like, but it's just basic networking, and that's it. And it's like, man, it's been 2 years and we got that many people for that event. We're going to do it every month this year, so we're excited about that.
That's awesome.
And I Koehler kind of introduced me to the concept of networking. I didn't come up in the business world the way Koehler did, and so I've just kind of been dipping my foot in a little bit at a time. And so he's like, hey, you're going to come to these networking events. And I'm like, I don't want to come to a networking event. Like, I don't even know what that means. And it has been such a blessing to be able to go to these events and meet people. And I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and we were talking about how when I'm in that room, I don't feel like I'm the same kind of person as a lot of those people are. And she's like, well, you're probably a breath of fresh air to people when you walk in there. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's true or not, but it's this really cool moment to be like, I don't have to be the same as these people. There's really something I can learn just by having conversations and connecting with these people. And so I'm all in for networking now.
I think that the coolest thing for me was sitting back. I think like within 30 minutes or 40 minutes after you work the table for a while, sitting back, and I was sitting on the couch to the side, and I'm looking at all these people, and I realize like I'm so happy that I've created this environment for people to thrive in, right?
Yes.
Like I didn't have to meet 100 people then. I wasn't trying to make money off the event. Mm-hmm. The point of the event is to bring people together and create that positive environment.
And so I think a cool dynamic about you, and you kind of just in a way brought it up, was your skill is like networking and business, and your skill is like storytelling and expanding on why it's important to have a story behind your business.
This guy's done his research.
That's why it's really important that you guys. That's why it's really important to have that combination, because you're going to meet people that you might have a weakness, and you're like, oh man, I'm not good at this. But now I know how to network because Koehler was like, hey, I got you. Or Koehler, sorry, man.
Sorry, no worries.
But he's like, I can help you with networking. And you're like, but I can help you when you're networking to tell your story. And it's just like, that's what's so important. There's so much parts of balance that we need as a team and as a like a group of people that, as a community, that's what's so important to me is for my podcast is to connect all these people. So networking has always been an important aspect for me. When I worked or when I was in my fraternity, I was the recruitment chair. So like that's always been a huge thing for me is just making networks and connecting people, and not for money. Like I want to do it because I want to make everybody successful, because I know if I can help make everybody else successful, then the whole team's going to eat. And that's kind of the way I look at it is there's enough for everybody to get some scraps. So like,
100%.
let's ball out.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you guys are so badass, is because you all aren't doing it like just because you want to make money. You're doing it because you truly are genuinely like invested in the Lexington community. And I'm kind of new here. I've only been here for 5 years, but it's like the people I've met have helped me to change my life. So I'm excited that you all are trying to connect people that are trying to do similar things.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it speaks to what we are doing. You know, we're doing a new thing called Story and Sell, and the whole premise of that is to be able to tell that story, but also connect with your community. And I think, you know, having a story, but also being able to connect is so important.
Yeah, and we've, like he said, it's called Story and Sell, and we've connected this world of storytelling and sales. And why that was so important is because I went into business for myself 5 years ago, and I immediately noticed that when you're negotiating with potential clients, when you're trying to sell, it kind of became this like knife fight. Like everybody's trying to get theirs, and they're holding their cards real close to their vest, and they don't want you to get ahead because that means they may not get ahead. And I was like, is this how it has to be? Is this what sales has to be? And so then I meet Koehler, and he came up in sales. He came up in business. And I asked him, is this how it is? He said, well, sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. And so that was the big revelation that kind of informed some of what we're doing is it can be about networking. It can be about community, even something like sales that a lot of people have this terrible impression of. And they have this like idea in their mind of the cheesy salesman and the salesman that's trying to get away with something. And it doesn't have to be that way. It can be relational.
Yeah, 100%. And like and I hate to do this, but if you're running a networking event right now and you're trying to sell someone at the end of it, you're not running a networking event. Like that's for you,
It's a
not
sales
for
seminar,
them,
yeah.
right? It's a sales seminar, yeah, right. Like we saw when Mike and I started our event, we saw that there were so many events out there that were just for themselves. It had nothing to do with the other person, right? So we literally, we started when we both had like real corporate jobs, and we were like, let's start this thing where like we could meet people and like actually just talk and better our community. I think that's what it's all about. Like if you're living in this community, if you're not bettering it, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
And we're not anti-profit.
No.
Like, absolutely not.
100%.
Of course.
We are we are way into profit. We love profit.
Yeah.
But show us who you are.
Yeah.
Let that profit come from a relationship and not from just a cynical transaction.
What we found is if you create an environment, a positive environment, where people could just act in their regular environment, guess what? Business actually happens.
Yeah.
In a natural way.
You can't stop it. It's going to happen.
You can't stop it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I know this guy that does story. Oh, wait, I know this guy that does positive stuff. Like let's connect
Let's
you
get
all,
them together,
Like,
yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, and for me, like even just coming to a bar and sitting, I know that you all recently been talking about that. Like most of the people who've been on my podcast have just been people I've just randomly been out and about, and I was like, hey, I'm doing a podcast, and I wasn't trying to sell them on, hey, you should listen to my podcast. I was just like, here's the goal of my podcast, like. And they're like, oh, really? Like, that's actually really cool. Like, you lost, like, 225 pounds, and, like, you're trying to, like, help connect people in the community, and you want to raise $40,000 for charity and, like, run a marathon and record 50 episodes of your podcast. And they're like, you obviously know, like, what you want to do. So, like, I believe in this. So, yeah, I'll be on your podcast. Like, I know I just met you guys, but you just came on my podcast.
Yeah.
So, like, just the fact that, and I got to give a massive shout out to Mike Garner, because he was my first guest on my podcast.
Okay.
He literally was like, hey man, I'm about to move to Bali, and if you want me to be on a podcast, and
Do it
do it now. Literally like tomorrow, because I'm moving in like a week. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't have a mic, I didn't have a computer. I literally just recorded on my phone and was like, let's do it. Like, and him doing that made me just move into action. So I appreciate him for doing that. And also I was connected to you guys through him. So honestly, a lot of the people I've had on have been through Mike, so I really appreciate it, and he's a really important part of my story for sure.
What an awesome lesson. You don't need the mic. You don't need the equipment. You got a phone. You're carrying around this thing in your pocket that'll get it done. Just do it. Just get it done. There will be time to improve your craft. There will be time to get better as you progress. But for now, just get started.
Yeah.
Awesome.
100%. And I got to shout out Mike too. Like, I mean, Mike, I think he's been so influential in like all of our lives, right? Like Mike and I are doing that Not Average Dad Bod program right now, trying to help and encourage, build a community of dads that are just being better than they were yesterday. And I just think Mike is such a positive influence. I mean, he's influenced everybody here. And
literally all three of us.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And here's the chance for me to announce I'm moving to Bali. Thanks to Mike. I'm not really. I wish I was. I wish I was moving to Bali. It's on my list. It's on my to-do list.
That's right.
So the podcast, one of your goals, but you're going to run a marathon too?
Yeah, so I plan on either running a marathon or running a triathlon. I haven't really decided which one yet.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to do the research. I feel like the marathon is probably the little bit more of the go ahead and do.
Sure.
I know we were just literally talking about how just doing it, but I don't have a bike and I don't really have a great place to train to swim, so I know I can run. So I think I might start there and then try to move into a Ironman next year. But so a huge goal of mine. Initially, when I first started doing all this, it started off as just Snapchats, and people would be like, "Oh, dude, like this is cool that you're doing this. Like we're really proud of you." And then slowly but surely, tons of people started being like, "Dude, I'm actually going to the gym because you." Like for instance, my buddy Clayton over here is literally just like, "I'm the healthiest I've probably ever been because you motivate me to go to the gym." And it's just like, I'm not doing this stuff to be vain, and I'm not doing it to be like the next success story on TLC or something. I'm doing this because I want to legitimately make a change in my community. I was driving by a billboard one day, and it said 1 in 4 people die of heart disease in Eastern Kentucky, and I was like, that's not an acceptable statistic.
That's a rough statistic.
Yeah, exactly. And for me to see that was literally just like heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to watch the progress. I'm fascinated and kind of drawn to triathlons, but it's the way someone might be fascinated by like scary clowns. Like I can't stop looking, but I want nothing to do with it. So I'm really interested in triathlons, but I will not be doing one.
So you've read Can't Hurt Me, obviously.
Obviously, yes,
right?
yes. So David Goggins was actually one of my
do it.
biggest influences for sure.
Okay, sure.
He it's so weird, man. It was literally like the universe was like speaking to me. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast with David Goggins, and I was sitting in a parking lot, kid you not, at a Steak and Shake. I had a big ass hamburger and a milkshake, and this dude goes, I was sitting at a Steak and Shake, and I had a big ass hamburger and a milkshake, and I was tired of this shit, and I changed my life that night. And I was like, whoosh.
Did you really? Did you
Immediately,
throw them out the window?
Dude, I was like, no. I was like, dude, this was a sign.
Divine
That's awesome.
I had just like been to the doctor, and he was like, it was the head doctor, that my neurologist, and he was like, pretty much like, you're not going to heal if you don't change your lifestyle. And he was like, if you don't get your health under control, you're on 2 forms of blood pressure medication, you're 25 years old, this is unacceptable. He didn't say it, but like he was saying it.
Right.
And I was like, all right. And I literally, it was like I listened to him, and I was hearing his story out, and I was like, all right, doc, I hear you. But then I was like, but I still need this cheeseburger and this milkshake for one last time. And then it was just like, when he said that in the middle of that podcast, I was like, there's not even one last time. It's like, it's over now.
So I think it's great, and it is acceptable sacrifice. Steak and Shake will never be a sponsor of this podcast.
It will not. No, sadly.
But that's okay. You don't need them.
I still love you, Steak and Shake, but I just don't come to you anymore. I know that Wendy's bottom dollar has definitely been hurt because there's no longer me
like,
around
what happened
2
to
a.m.
Austin? Is Austin okay?
That probably happens to a lot of their guests. They have to ask, or a lot of their customers, unfortunately.
Well, I think you brought up a good point. Like, I think so many people are alive, but they're not living, right?
Yeah,
like,
truly.
That doctor's responsibility is to keep you alive.
Yeah.
And give you stuff that's going to keep you alive, but you're not really living your life. So I can see it in your face. I can hear it in your voice. This is giving you life, and you're actually living now.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
And so a funny thing is, starting out, my initial influence for me to want to do stuff like this was I was a little kid, and an announcer was sick for a football game, and it was like a little like K through 2 football league. And this guy was like, does anybody want to announce this game? Like, no one cares or listens anyway. And I was like, this is my moment. Yeah, and I was like, this is my me.
I care.
I'm in 5th grade, and everybody likes me, I think. I hope so. So let's do this. So I got up there, and I sucked at first, but I just kept doing it. And it actually became like a job through like middle school.
I will say this as a story guy, that is a great story. That is a fantastic story. I'm gonna make that mine. I'm gonna steal that.
That's yours.
I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna start telling that story as mine.
Oh,
And then another connection was I was listening to ESPN radio, the local station 1300, like all the time. And I worked at TQL, and I hated sales job. It sucked so bad because I literally felt like what you all were talking about. I was like, I just am not connected to my customers. I'm not connected. They're my customers. They're not my family. They're not my friends. I'm like, this is not how this is supposed to be. But it was hard because I wasn't actually able to connect with them face to face. And that, as a salesman, I feel like that's where I'm going to sell somebody. Because like you all said, I'm going to connect to somebody.
Build a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. The rapport and just actually becoming friends with somebody is way more important. And then once they actually trust you and they believe you, then they're like, all right, like I can do business with this person because I actually know what they're about. But anyway, so I would listen to ESPN 1300 all the time. There's a show called Matthew and Mikey on there, and I would hear it and call in from time to time. And one day they were on Waller, beside where me and him actually lived, and they were like, we're at the Waller Jimmy John's, and I was like, it's literally right beside where I live. I'm going in and I'm talking to them. And I talked to these guys and I said, hey, I want to start working for you all. Is there any way that I could do this? And they're like, I mean, actually this is crazy, but the executive producer for ESPN 1300 today is here. Go talk to him right now. And I was like, all right. So I went over and talked to him, and he was like, yeah, like we can give you like an intern job. And so I did that for a few months, and that was extremely influential too, because I was just seeing like the ins and outs of that business. And it kind of didn't end up working out just because I was working night shift at a pharmaceutical company at the time after I left TQL. And it was like, the scheduling was conflictual, and I also didn't have the same mindset that I have today to be like, I'm making this happen, like it's what I care about. And then I was like, I need to make money, and it was not about doing what I was passionate about. And what's weird is like, now that I'm passionate about something, I'm making money.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, like how did that happen? And
Isn't
it's
that
like,
weird how that works?
It is weird.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
you were saying, it was just like, if you just are gonna make it happen because you want to make money, then it's not gonna work.
Right.
And that was what I was like being defined by, and it was still in my soul. Literally every day I would walk into my sales job at TQL, and no offense to TQL, great job, paid the bills, but that's not like, it wasn't paying my like morality. And that was the big thing that like was killing me, was just, it was easy to get by, but it wasn't like I was like dragging, and it was like I was never able to be who I was because I was so sucked. It was a vampire to me.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to find what you're passionate about, because I mean,
I'm going to butcher this quote, but Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of my guys, one of my big guys, and you're into him too.
Yeah.
He has a quote that I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, whatever is supposed to be yours is going to be drawn to you. It's going to be attracted to you. And those are two huge stories that show that. A little kid, you want to be an announcer, you want to be doing that stuff, and somebody says, who's here that wants to do it? And then this other show that you want to be a part of, recording right down the street from you, you walk in and you say, I want to work for you. Well, great, there's the guy that's hiring over there. And when you put the pedal down towards those things, that's when the money comes. That success, that fulfillment is yours. It's supposed to be yours, and it's just waiting for you to do what you're supposed to do to bring it to you. So
100%. And I think, and the world knows that, right? Like, I mean, man, I can't tell you enough. Like, when I left what I was doing to come on this marketing firm journey, and to do some coaching and other things, like it, I was scared, number one, but I always knew, like, oh, I'm good. I can just go back to corporate if I want to, right?
Right.
So I would apply for some corporate jobs as we were getting this going, right? I wasn't 100% committed. And you know what happened? Every door shut.
Yeah.
Every door. Stuff that I'm qualified for. Look, I've got an MBA. I've got amazing experience. Like, it's not like I'm not qualified, but they started shutting. I've seen 156 no's since September. No's for stuff that I am way qualified for. I started to realize that the world's telling me, no, you don't need to do that anymore.
it's not supposed to happen.
No.
Yeah.
And then guess what happened? Our business started doing this.
Well, yeah, blowing up.
I started getting inquiries
be
for all
patient.
these other, just patience, right? But so the opposite of what you said is the same thing. I tried to push it the other way, try to do something that was easy, and the world was like, no, you need to stop this. Go do what you were meant for. Do what I want you to do. How you can make the most impact. How you can positively affect other people. Do that. That's what I need you to do. Yeah.
And for me, I just know that the sense of community, that's why, like I said, I wanted to bring you all on, that when I started losing the weight that I was losing, EBF was like where I made my home at. And there were so many people who I met that were introducing me to ideas and just beliefs that I wasn't aware were even capable for me. So when I got to Everybody Fights, I ran a 12-minute mile. And now I run a 6-minute mile. And it's like, when I got to EBF, I couldn't do stand-up comedy, but now I have the guts to go up and do stand-up comedy and do like open mics. And it's just like all these things that I couldn't do then, that just because I was courageous and willing to go out and just do it, like Nike, it sounds so stupid and cliche, but like they have one of the best mottos in the game. That's why it's just, it's so simple, but it's so effective.
Just where can we see this stand-up comedy at? I'm very intrigued by this.
So from time to time, I do open mics at Crumbs. I do open mics at, they do one at Laughing Skull I'm trying to do in Georgetown. I'm trying to get on there. The big one I really, really, really want to get on is the open mic at Comedy Off Broadway.
Okay.
We kind of have to get some work going in. Twisted Cork is a place that we do open mics at. Let's see. We're trying to, they're getting one started over at Wisebird. So I'm going to hopefully start doing those over there.
Well, you should be able to get in Comedy Off Broadway. I've seen terrible open mic people at Comedy Off Broadway. So Comedy Off Broadway, are you listening? Come on, man. This guy's got a podcast. Bring him on. Bring him on. Yeah. What are you afraid of?
Bring me on.
What are you afraid of? He's going to take the place over?
I got a crazy story.
Yeah, perfect. Well, awesome.
I've really self-deprecated. I make fun of myself in jokes.
Okay, I'm ready. I want to see it.
Man, I think we should give a huge shout out to Matt at EBF. Like, I mean, Matt, we've
Also a guest on my podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we probably have 3 or 4 like actual face-to-face interactions, and I haven't trained with him as much as I want to, but he's just an influential, amazing, positive guy that can take you from wherever you are to wherever you want to be. You know.
He was the first guy who was actually in the gym that was like, I believe in you, man.
Yeah.
He like gave me my tour. He's like, this is my fight, blah, blah, blah. This is the cool place, blah, blah, blah. And then I like saw this big mural of Muhammad Ali, and it was like, said something along the lines of, you can't make your dreams happen until you wake up. And I was like, I always say I'm living the dream, but like, am I really doing it? And then Muhammad Ali was like, get your ass into gear. So that's awesome. And then I just met a community there that just, like I said, made me believe in myself. And always had the potential to do it, but I just needed someone to like kind of like show me to the discipline was what I was lacking the whole time, honestly. For me, I can honestly 100% say, and I would even say that my buddy Clayton over there would be like, he's always been ambitious and wanted to do all these awesome things, but it's just like he didn't have the discipline. I would start doing it, and then I would be like, all right, like I didn't make it happen. Like, let's quit. Like I can say I tried, but like, you know. Yeah. And it's just so important to be consistent because there's so many times that you're going to be hammering and hammering and hammering and hammering and hammering, and you're going to be like 2 inches away from hitting that gold, and then you're like, let's pack it up, guys. Like we tried for 6 months. Like you said, like with you were like, I mean, it's not happening, so like I need to have a backup plan just in case it doesn't work. And then it's like, but if you are not committed wholeheartedly to making it happen, then it's not going to happen. So like another funny story for me was So I buy my domain for whattheshuck.com, and I look online and I'm like, oh crap! Like there's some weird coincidences that have happened in my life, or just where things have lined up that I'm just like, it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And so I get on this website on GoDaddy.com, and I'm looking, and it's like this website has been available for 9 years and 5 months or something like that. And then it was like, but this is the last day that you can make a bid for it. And I was like, wow, I've been really slacking. Like, if I would have waited one more day, I couldn't have made this happen. So I get on there, and they're like, you have to buy this purchasing license to be like a bidder for this website because it's like a valued domain. And so I get on there, and I'm bidding on it, and it's like $5. I'm like, $5? That's not nothing. I'm like, I got that. Press $5, and there's only been one other bid the whole time. I'm like, all right, I'm definitely getting this website for $5. Like, let's go. And then it's like 20 minutes until the bidding closes, and then bids start coming in. It's like $7, $8, $10, $15, $25, and I'm like, all right, like it gets all the way up to $96 with like 1 second to go, and I'm like 96 like the cats, baby. And I pushed that button, and I was so nervous because I was like, if I don't get this, like I'm gonna be heartbroken. Like I just went up to $96, and that's not a lot of money, but for me
When
to
you
just
think you're starting at 5?
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, like my heart was racing, and I was like, you know what? Like if I didn't look at this today, then it wouldn't have happened. So I'm making it happen, and I pressed it, and then it was like nobody else bid, and I was like,
Awesome.
whoa. Now,
Another great story. Like the stories are coming fast and furious over here. You know, we had, our experience when we started Brandon 78. We were just talking about this the other day, that for the first few months when we started as a startup, it was kind of stagnant. It was slow. And we're like, well, you just keep going. You just keep showing up every day, doing the work, having faith in your process and what you're doing. And then it's exploded. Like it's gone from this stagnant, not moving line to like a quickly increasing spike. And we were talking about, well, what do you attribute that to? And the answer was just showing up every day.
Showing up. It's action, consistent
Yeah.
action, consistent action, consistent action. Eventually leads to progress, right? And then the other thing that we've said all week is obscurity, right?
Yeah.
Like the problem with business and personal brand is obscurity. People don't know who you are. And if you get out there and do different things and put your name out there, what we want is wherever people look, I want them to see us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then once that
so
happens,
that's how you have to attack it seriously.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in one more place.
Yeah, exactly.
When they look
Yeah.
up, they're going to see us.
yeah.
So-
But that's how I found you. I followed Everybody Fights. I was working out with some of their guys, and all of a sudden I started seeing your face pop up on their feed, right?
I was probably sending a message every day,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like sometimes they wouldn't post
Yeah.
them, sometimes they did. But I was like,
Yeah.
if I keep doing it, they're gonna keep posting it, or eventually they're going to.
And then it's like I know this guy. I don't know him, but I know him.
Yeah.
You know. And I think that's what you have to do as a business, as a personal brand, whatever you're doing, is get rid of that obscurity.
Yeah. And when you start doing stuff, you get podcast invitations, and you're like, I don't know about that one, but this was an easy yes.
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, I
based on
appreciate
what
that.
you've
Easy
done.
yes. Yeah.
I know legitimately, I was sitting at a bar one night and I heard this girl, she got an email and she goes, "Ooh, gross, this guy just invited me to be on his podcast." And I was like, oh crap, I hope that never happens for me. Like that would break my heart. I know that it's potentially a fact that might happen and I can't be discouraged by that, but I hope that I'm putting out the kind of content that resonates with people, helps them to build skills, helps them to find that they have capabilities that they never knew, because I did that for myself, and it was not achieved by myself. It was achieved by a community that helped me to believe this and just to make it happen. Rather, it was by guys like you all, or people at EBF, or even Joe Rogan or David Goggins. That Joe Rogan doesn't even know it, but he's my best friend. I'm like, hey, I'll be talking to people. My mom and dad are probably like, man, her son's 27 years old and has an imaginary friend named Joe. Like he hangs out with. The other day I was Joe was talking, and I was listening to him and this guy talk about this cool stuff, and they're just like, what are you talking about? No, Joe Rogan.
That's how I am with Joseph Campbell.
Okay,
As a
I'm
story
familiar
guy,
with Joseph
I
Campbell,
will talk
but-
about Joseph Campbell
He's here
all the
with
time.
you, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's here with me. He's in my heart.
Okay.
He's
Well, he's
my
on your arm.
He's
too.
in my arm too, tattooed on my arm. But Brandon, our other partner, who we should mention, Brandon 𝗫𝗲𝗵𝗹𝗲𝗿, who is one of the other members of Brandon 78. They're both, he and Koehler are both like, shut up about Joseph Campbell. We don't care. But yeah, you have those people that they follow you everywhere in your mind.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Joe Rogan. Awesome.
I joke with
I
you.
can take
joke
it.
with
I know you don't care.
But when I first was starting on my journey of personal development, and this is probably back in when I was finishing with the Marine Corps and back going down to college.
Are you gonna tell us who one of your
Semper
guys
Fi.
was?
Yeah, thank you.
My dad was a Marine. I
No,
appreciate that.
But my mentors, I didn't have a group of people that motivated me.
Right.
So guess what? Zig Ziglar,
You find them online.
Tony Robbins,
You find them in books. Yeah.
they were my best friends. I
love
surrounded
those
myself
dudes.
with them. You know what I mean? That's it.
Zig
right?
Ziglar, yeah.
Zig was my first personal
I
development.
love Zig
guy.
and Tony,
Yeah.
so I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We should throw a shout out to Brandon 𝗫𝗲𝗵𝗹𝗲, our third partner.
Yeah.
Brandon does a lot of the sitting at a computer work
Okay.
for us.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, heavy lifting, essential to what we do.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without him. And so we talk about, and this is a great example, like if in a podcast setting you were to say, Well, how did Brandon 78 get started? We talk about how there's a mythology already that all three of us think it was our idea, that we were the first one to come up and say, you know what, the three of us should work together. But
the reality is Chandler Lyles put us together.
Yeah, Chandler Lyles, Lyles Barbecue. Started a mastermind where we all three met each other, and pretty quickly afterwards we're like, that guy has something I need. And you talked about that at the beginning of the podcast.
Yep.
He has something I need. He has something I need. And we quickly discovered these three skill sets really complement each other. And
And you liked them. That was the important part, because you can find someone who's like, this guy's an asshole, I don't even want to work with him. Like, he's really good at this, and I just,
I don't know if I've said this out loud. I'm going to say it on the podcast to make it official. Koehler, best friend. You're my best friend.
Thanks.
I love it. I love to hear it.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
He has encouraged me when I didn't think I was a salesperson, when I didn't think I was cut out for the business world. He encouraged me. Really thanks.
I thought you were going to call it Brandon. So,
Brandon, I hate you. I'm going to murder you. Brandon is awesome.
he is,
like
we couldn't do what we do without
Yes,
Brandon.
not at all. And and you hit on it, that we all like each other. And I was telling Kayla, some of the best moments that when one day we're billionaires, we'll look back and say, remember that time we went to Wild Turkey and we were just cutting up the whole way in the car? Like, those are the moments that are going to stick with us. And
and those times that we almost strangled each other.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But
a
I
lot
think
of hard conversations leading up to this.
but I think with any business, with anything you do, you find the people that you work well with, and then guess what? Like, it sounds like you're fighting because you're so passionate about it, right? It's not that you're mad at that person. It's that, like, we want so bad for like our customers to be here that, like, I'm willing to just fight you.
Going to war about it.
100%.
And that's the mindset, like, you have to be.
Yeah, like
this
our goals
is
are the same.
survival.
100%. Yeah. Thanks, man.
No, seriously, this has been awesome. For me, literally, like, I know that this guy back here is one of my best friends, and I've been into, like, some of the biggest fist fights I've ever been in my life with him. But, like, he's the guy I'm taking to my concert that, like, I've been excited about since November, because, like, you're my best friend. You literally have had my back through thick and thin, and I would not have the success that I have without you, because you've been one of my buddies that have, like, always supported me. He's literally every single podcast I posted. I have some best friends who were like, I listen to, like, a little bit of them. He's, dude, I love this one. This was what I love to hear about it. This was, like, what I got from it. And it just means so much to have someone that has your back. So friendship is obviously important. So that was awesome for me. Like, that fact that my best friend is literally here, and you guys are like, because I've only had one other podcast where it was two other people.
Okay.
And I didn't even know that was going to happen. So I wanted to set you guys up, because I just know that you guys have an awesome dynamic and just the balance that it creates. So,
well, thanks.
Yeah, it was really
Appreciate
important that.
And the listeners can't see this, but your best friend over there, he's crying. He's bawling. He's bawling like a baby, like tears streaming down his face.
It's heart touching.
It's not the first time.
Not the first time.
Usually he cries because I punch him in the face. But so what are your all's biggest goals for this year? That's something I always like to touch on. It's super important to be goal oriented and to have those out in reality, because if you don't, it's going to be just sitting in your subconscious, and you might even be like, did I just think about it, or did I actually, like, try to attempt it? And when you actually put it out there, that's why this podcast is so important to me, because it's in a way for me to be like, oh, I'm going to run a marathon because I said I was going to do it. And I'm going to raise $40,000 for charity because I said I was going to do it on a podcast. And it might not be the easiest thing to do those, but if I'm putting it out there, I'm holding myself accountable. So what are your all's goals for this year?
Yeah. You want to start? Or you want me to start?
So I'll start. One of mine, and it didn't start on January 1st. It started back in the summer, but I decided in the summer, over the next year, I'm going to touch 1,000 people with the gospel of storytelling, because I think it's that important. I think it is a roadmap for how we should live our lives. It is how we connect with each other. And so I decided I'm going to take a year and I'm going to try to reach 1,000 people. So right now, Just one-on-one, face-to-face, I'm at around between 200 and 300.
Okay.
So I'm going to want to find out what your listenership is because I'm going to add that number to it.
Okay.
So I guess I better say storytelling can change your lives. There, I did it now. Anybody listening?
I'm getting like 200 to 300 views per episode, and I haven't put it on iTunes yet. I've had some problems with RSS feed,
Sure.
so I'm working on that. But as soon as I get on iTunes, it's going to be a lot.
can help you with
successful.
Well, I wasn't going to ask you to do it here, but I just jumped 400 to 500.
Don't sell yourself short.
Oh yeah.
Don't sell yourself short.
Okay.
I think you want one-on-one interactions.
Okay.
Not just, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But hey, if you need some help, Patch
Yeah.
has got you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Reach out to him.
Please call me. What about you?
I think we break it down into a couple things, right? So like business and personal, right? So like I think from Brandon 78 standpoint, marketing firm, like we just want to touch 100 businesses in Lexington. Like there is such a need for small businesses to get good marketing in this area, and it's underserved. Everyone's doing like website SEO, Google Ads, which by the way, how many Google Ads do you actually click?
Today?
Yeah, today. How many did you click?
0.
Exactly.
Never.
Exactly. Right? You scroll down the results, right? So like we're social first, and we want to help businesses tell their story.
Yeah.
And whether that's the origin story, or whether that's the current story, whether that's a funny story, whether that's squirrels taking over your Instagram, I don't know what that is. But we just want to help small businesses in Lexington and surrounding areas regionally. We can do it nationally, but the reality is there's so much need here. So much need, right? So it's 100 businesses for us this year. You know what I mean? To see that exponential growth that we've been talking about. For me, from a not average dad bod standpoint, like I really want to touch 200 men. I don't mean it that way. There it is.
Yeah. Let's edit that out.
I would
How many
like
men have you touched so far?
I would like my program to affect 200 men.
Not physically
Right,
touched.
right. I would like my program to affect that many people, right? Affect some change. Like, the story behind that is like I did a little coaching and I had a lot of people say, hey, you've never known what it's like to be overweight, right? Like that's what they told me. They said you were in the Marine Corps, you ran cross country, da 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 da. So you know what I did the last year? I gained 45 pounds on purpose to get myself ready to be in the mindset to lose it all and to be with these men that are having that issue, right? Because a lot of times what happens is fathership happens, husbandry happens, right? And you lose track of that health. And health is number one, right? If you don't have health, you can't do anything else.
I literally couldn't do anything else.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's where 200 men. That'd be great to be able to affect change for that many people. And then just personally, I'm doing a half marathon this year. Yeah, because I think that would solidify kind of where I want to be in health-wise this year. So those are kind of just three main goals I'm going for.
I'm ashamed that I don't have a health goal.
You're in the not average dad bod.
I am in the not average dad bod, but I feel like I need to solidify.
But I don't know if is that like for you. I know we have this worksheet we fill out first, and for you it was like I want abs or something.
Yeah,
and it was like, well,
like it's shallow.
Is it a weight number? Is it
No,
like
it's
for
a
you?
shallow.
What is it?
It's,
what is that?
It's just so I can take my shirt off, walk around the backyard, and be like, ugh,
Sarah,
the ring's over there, Sarah, and then like her be like, oh my. Like, that's
is that it? Like,
yeah, that's it.
Oh,
that's
so your
it.
goal is to make your wife faint.
To make her faint.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
All right.
Your list of whys are important. But where can everybody find you all at?
Sure.
We are on branded78.com, branded78 underscore.
Yep.
That's most of our social stuff, so Instagram. And then I'm patchdrury on all social except TikTok. And TikTok it's patchdrury underscore. Yeah, they didn't.
Someone had it?
Somebody had it. Isn't that weird?
I think I have it. Oh yeah,
You bought it.
I'm gonna sell it to you. Yeah. And I'm.
Were you the guy that I was actually bidding against whattheshuck.com?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Are you driving me to be great?
I do randomly buy domains, just for the
in
record.
case,
You can find me on anything social Koehler Slagel. It's spelled Koehler Slagel Slagel.
The Lexington Business Show.
Oh, gotta do the Lexington Business
Obviously.
Show. Yeah.
We have a podcast where we interview people who are doing interesting business things in Lexington, and so clearly you're going to be a guest on that.
That's the goal.
LexingtonBusinessShow.com. You can find us there, and we're on Instagram as Lexington Business Show.
Yep.
And it's really serving a need in a lot of ways. Like Koehler did it when we were starting it. Koehler did a search for business show podcast in Lexington, And what was the number one result?
It was like it was the third one down.
Third one
was
down.
Like Pornhub.
When
You search
You
those,
search
it was like what is
Lexington
going
business.
on here?
Yeah.
Like we need a better Lexington business presence
Yeah.
on the podcast.
So we're trying to help with that.
And
No offense, Pornhub.
no offense.
You do great work.
And we should and we should say
Sorry,
this.
Mom.
We should say this. The Lexington Business Guide is sponsored by the Scout Guide. And if you haven't seen a Scout Guide, you need to go pick one up.
Yeah, we're sponsored by the Lexington Business Show, sponsored by the Scout Guide. If you're staying in a hotel around town,
Doctor's
or
office, dental,
dentist office, there's these they're pink this year, a little pink book. Flip through it. Some of the best brands in Lexington, some of the best businesses, and we're a part of it. We're super excited to be a part of it.
I actually see it as like a filter for who you should be going to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're looking for a premium brand and you're like, where do I look? But you know certain sites you're going to look at. Like, that is the book you go to when you want to see the premium brands.
Absolutely. So we're super excited about that relationship.
And that's super important for me too, because I wouldn't want you guys to talk about that if I didn't believe that. And I truly think that you all wouldn't be in partnership with companies that are doing that if they weren't truly committed to a similar vision as you all.
100%.
But thank you all so much for coming on. This has been awesome. I definitely want to come on your all show. I definitely want to have you all on What the Shuck again. But if you're listening, thank you so much. This has been such an awesome experience. We're here from Ethereal Brewery. I had the Nimbus. And also the 𝗦𝗹𝗴𝗲𝗿 was drank. Koehler also had the Nimbus as well. So come check out Ethereal. That's also a huge part I want to do, is just to give everybody an opportunity to come check out some locally craft-made things that are awesome, similar visions as we have. So thank you all for listening.
How did you
to
feel
What the
about the Nimbus?
The Nimbus was good?
Good? Yeah, good. I like this. Fruity. Very
So was it light?
forward. Light, very light.
Okay.
I told you I wanted a light. It was very light, very fruit forward. Is a good way to put it.
How did it finish?
Cereal.
Cereal, okay.
Yeah,
Fruit
weedy.
Loopy?
Weedy, Fruit Loopy. Yeah.
Okay.
So fruit start, wheat finish.
All right.
Look at you.
Gentlemen, thank you all so much. Like I said, if you all are listening to What the Shuck, thank you all. Please subscribe, please like, and most importantly, don't forget to live the dream. Thank you all.
That was awesome.